security firms, fund managers, etc., who were also marketing it for us. And as I said, we could, without an investor leaving his house, he could actually invest. And then also similarly, when he's getting his profit payments, he just designates a bank account and the money comes directly into his bank account. So without leaving his house, he can invest and get money back, basically. In terms of encashment, I think we've added layers. It is listed on the stock exchange, but we know that debt instruments don't trade too much. So then we added a market maker who would make two-way prices. And then finally, we had a redemption clause which says that you can come in and encash anytime you like. Obviously, there will be a penalty because the rate we were giving was for 3 years. So if you invest for a lesser period, we had a 2% prepayment penalty. So if you do it after 1 year, you still get something like 12.5%, which is also a good rate. So before I go into the milestone, I think what is not written here is I'd like to acknowledge the very positive role played by the stock exchange and SCCP in trying to promote such an instrument. For example, we had a 3-month subscription period, which was unheard of before in any TFC or even an IPO, which is 2-3 days maximum a week. The other thing which they allowed us was because if we had kept that money in a bank for 3 months, it would have upset our IRR calculations. So they allowed us to draw the money as it came in, as compared to an IPO, where you can only draw the money post the subscription closing. So there were a lot of things which SCCP Stock Exchange helped us out with, and very thankful for them. So anyway, what we achieved was that almost 80% of the issue, from a total of 4 billion, 3 billion actually, or 3 billion plus, came from retail investors, which was our target market. The first 2 billion, which was our original amount, was subscribed within the first month, and the green shoe, we exercised the green shoe, and the total 4 billion was done much before the subscription date. The banks played a very important part. I think a couple of banks like Standard Chartered or MCB, who had wealth management divisions, who were very strong with the retail, they came out in front with the most collections, but the other banks also, including security firms like BMA, etc., also played a big part in the marketing of the product. We did a huge campaign, which you must have seen in the TV and the print ad, which created that awareness about that product, and then the final execution implementation was done by the partner banks as such. We had call center, we got 6,000 calls for its number of inquiries and 40,000 website hits. So you can imagine the interest, and including money which came from outside Pakistan as well. And in the end, although we thought that our cost for the first issue would be higher and then it would come down subsequently, even the first year first issue cost was almost equal to comparable bank borrowings and would decline as we do further issues as such. Just to give you a profile of how we got the money, which could be maybe interesting for some of you who want to do it as well. If you see, most of the money came from, almost 80% came from people above 40 years of age. So clearly saying that after 40 you tend to save more, before in the younger age you obviously tend to spend more, I guess. In terms of investor profile, in terms of occupation, it was fairly mixed, including housewives who obviously save money as well. And this was the location was a bit of a surprise. We thought we will get some money from the rural areas where the Engro name is known, but if you see the 3 big cities, Karachi, Lahore and Islamabad, we got 90% plus from those 3 cities as such. So obviously these are learnings for us for our next campaign, so to say. So our idea is that we will continue to offer these certificates. We are planning to do a subsequent issue in the second quarter, and these will obviously hopefully cost us lower, and we can substitute existing bank debt and add on this portfolio. And if and when we do another big project, then we can add, use this as an avenue of raising funds as well. We will also want to tweak the product portfolio. There's a lot of demand for Islamic products as well. We will look into that and maybe tap into the non-resident market as well. Thank you. Happy to take any questions. Ji, sir.
Could you please give your name and your company and keep your questions very brief? Thank you. Ruhail, my name is Imran Khalil. I'm representing Float Securities. We are corporate members of Karachi and Lahore Stock Exchange. I would like to get your view on this product. One of the points within the market is that Angro's done this in order to ensure that they don't provide any security, which you would if you would have gone through the banks. So how true is that?
Well, I think what has happened is that the timing of the issue was because some of our projects got delayed, especially the fertilizer project. So the view in the market was that the banks are not lending, therefore they've done this type of thing. This was already planned. We've been planning this for almost a year, 2 years as such. So the timing came out as such. But I think it was, as I said, the objective was always supposed to be that we diversify our source of funding. The security in any case, as I said, right now it's an over coverage. Unless the total market cap of Angro collapses, there is adequate coverage, not in terms of hard assets, but in terms of the shares which you have. And then there are a lot of companies within the group which will provide regular dividend streams to service that debt as well.
Any more questions? None?
Right.
Sir?
The major project that you, Asad had just mentioned about the coal project, how confident do you feel about raising the funds that he's talking about? Do you see that happening in the near future or in the not so near future?
Well, the status today is that we have not actually gone out to raise the money yet. There are a few issues which we have to resolve prior to going out, including some infrastructure which needs to be provided in that area. There have been some solutions to that as well, which are quite late developments as such. You need, for a power plant, you need a lot of water, effluent discharge, there are some roads, railways, transmission lines, etc. So there are a few things which the government needs to initiate, which they are in the process of doing, but we haven't reached the milestone where we will actually go out and actually raise that money. The amount is huge, and the more challenging part is that because it being a coal project, which has CO2 emissions, etc., just to sort of get the number, for example, a coal-based project will have 2.5 to 3 times more CO2 than a gas-based project, just to give you an example. So it is highly unlikely that the Western donors will come and fund this project as such. There's obviously not enough liquidity in the domestic market, so the majority has to come from abroad. The good thing is that, as Asad mentioned, the Chinese are, I wouldn't say interested, but they are interested to listen to the proposal. And therefore, we are trying to, the most probable outcome will be a Chinese contractor, because again, they are the only people who deploy manpower in our country. Nobody else wants to come and work in our country. So in a combination of a Chinese contractor with Chinese financing, I would say that there's a more than a 50% chance of it happening. But as I said, once we haven't reached that stage where we actually have to go out and raise the money yet.
Strange that given the numbers Asad was talking about, the rest of the world is, talking about 40% to 65% to 80% coal production, and we are at a 0%, and this is our contribution to the CO2 that the globe is raising. So we are raising 0% CO2 compared to the others.
No, but with CO2 doesn't necessarily come from coal, it comes from other areas. But just to give you a background, see the problem is that this coal, while it is huge in reserves, is lignite, which is only 22% energy content. There is a lot of 50% moisture. Plus, on an average basis, it's quite below the ground. So average is about 250 meters or something like that. So the cost of extraction is high. So in the 90s, when you've probably heard of Shenhua and other Chinese companies, it would have taken a leap of faith by the government, because at that time, power from gas was being at 3.5, 4 cents. And here you wanted to give 5.5 cents to a Chinese company, even though it was indigenous. And at that time, by the way, gas was supposed to be plentiful in the country as well. So, but and at that time oil was something like $35, $40 a barrel. Now with oil